All right, welcome back to another tutorial where we talk about every single effect on this device. My name is Plague, and this is the phaser tutorial. Oh my god, I am so excited to talk about this. The phaser is my personal favorite effect on this entire device. I absolutely love the phaser. Now, the phaser is, I am so blessed, luckily available on everything. It's all A through C on every effect. It's great. If you haven't seen it already, I have obviously a tutorial for every single effect. It may or may not be out by the time this video is out, but there's going to be a flanger as well as a chorus tutorial. The phaser is very similar to both the flanger and the chorus. It's the more complicated, or I should say the more complex version of the three effects. So basically what it does is it makes a copy of the stimulus, and it takes one copy as is and just plays that. But then what it does with the other copy is that it will process it through the actual phaser algorithm. So you have the stimulus that's coming in and the copy of that. You basically have them happening, but one is slightly delayed, but instead of being delayed by time, it is delayed with all-pass filters. The all-pass filters don't cut any frequencies necessarily, but it does phase shift it, hence the name phaser. So what this means is that it will delay certain frequencies differently than other frequencies. And that is the phasing sound effect that you're hearing. So you're hearing the original piece of whatever it is, and you're also hearing the copy that is being phase shifted as well. An example of a phaser would be like the highs are being delayed less than the mids, which is being delayed less than the lows. So I'm not sure exactly how this particular phaser in this device is using its all-pass filters, but it is essentially doing that where it's taking different frequencies and delaying them at different rates through those filters. So because of that, the phaser will sound less harsh than a flanger because it's not tuned to a particular harmony with the source. There's an awesome video down in this description that talks about the phaser as well as the flanger and the chorus. A lot of really good information there. It also has really good diagrams and animations to be able to break this down even more if you want to understand how phasers in general will actually function. Here, we're going to talk about this phaser in particular, though. So we have several different parameters. It's amazing. We have 5 parameters here. We have the rate, the depth, the resonance, the step rate, and the E level. So let's go through each one of these as we normally do. So with the rate, what this is it controls the speed of the modulation. So it's not controlling anything. So I remember there's 2 copies. So it's not touching the duplicate or whatever the basic copy is. It is affecting just the second copy of the modulation. So in this case, we'll have this sound here. You can hear the, you'll listen to the speed at which the actual all-pass filters are affecting the track. And you'll be able to actually hear this if you listen. So I'm going to stop talking and mess with the rate, and you'll hear the difference. So you can hear the actual shifting of those filters back and forth. And with this, you have actual timed note measures as well as numerical. I use both, but if you wanted to actually pulse at a specific rate to the tempo that you have, then you can do it on the actual time-based measurements. Depth controls how prominent the processed copy will be. So again, we have those 2 copies. This is messing with just the processed copy or the modulator one. This tells how loud, almost like the balance in a way, but it's not quite balance, but how prominent is the actual processed sound going to be. All right, so in this case, I have this track here. We're going to change the depth, and you'll be able to hear the actual phaser come in. So the process sound is much more in front of the original sound, which is involving all these other effects. It's kind of like a balance, but it doesn't really reduce the original sound at all. So you'll still hear that in there. And it oftentimes is best to start with it at 100 and then go down from there until you find the number that really works for your mix or your track. So that's kind of the best way to use depth. Next, we have resonance. Resonance controls the filter effect. So the higher this goes, the brighter the phaser sound will be. And so you'll hear this high-pitched tone oscillating within your stimuli. So with step rate, this is more talking about how it's combining itself with the rate and how it's stepping itself more dramatically. So this is the most fun parameter to mess with when you have a phaser on. And I've noticed that because it's talking to the rate essentially, and they're both interconnected, I've noticed that the notes, like the steps, will come out more often when the rate is lower, so it's slower, than the actual step rate itself. So you'll notice that how the step rate is relative, how close it is relative to the rate, will have different effects. And if you noticed when I was at higher rates, like up here, and the step rate was much lower than that, the effect wasn't really coming through as much, versus if I have a higher step rate and a lower rate, you're getting a lot more of the actual like effect coming through, like actual stepping of the rate, the changing of the rate. And I think it has something to do with the interaction of when the step rate syncs with the rate, as it can still do nothing when the opposite is true, just less often. The last parameter would be the E level or the effect level. This is the strength, volume, presence of the effect, and that is controlled by the knob itself. This works well on things that are rich in harmonics, like guitars, vocals, or effects that bring out harmonies, like a flanger. So like here, for example, we have a phaser on a harmony, a vocal harmony, and it's really being brought out. I'm going to show that comparison with a flanger. It just seems to be nice with anything that's harmonic. So I'll give you another example of a harmony. This is just a synth harmony here. And phaser. Anything that's rich in harmony, this does wonders with. If you want to hear what this sounds like with a guitar, I have a video in the description as well that'll show you what the phaser effect sounds like with a guitar, so you'll be able to see that. This phaser that's in here is a little bit more advanced than the pedal in the video, but it's still really cool. There are so many different ways to utilize this effect. I don't have any singular tricks to show you. I like to incorporate step rates a lot, and I just like to hear what sounds good to add it to stuff or to create different things. Like for example here, if I combine a phaser with a granular delay, like this sounds fucking wild. All kinds of fucking wild shit with this. So here's another example of a phaser. Just kind of creating this popping sound from this bass line here and adding a vocal distortion to it. Yeah. Phaser, dude. Like, what? Dude, that's wild. I definitely encourage you to experiment around, play with this effect. Like I said, it is my favorite effect. I love songs that just include the phaser. But anyways, let's hear what this sounds like within a bigger piece. Flow like water when the beat drops low. Let it take you over when you let it go. Flow like water when you feel it in your chest. Make your hips move it when you put it to the test like. Rapid fire! put it to the test like. This is the fucking drum and bass, I said no. This is the fucking drum and bass, I said no.